Check out Chapman's crazy way of kicking off the morning. He drops 2 bullets into an empty glass and pours in 72 proof vodka. This badass routine is what he does every single day. He takes out a new model revolver, stuffs the bullet from his mouth into the gun. Playing Russian roulette is a weekly game for him. Chapman yanks that trigger out of nowhere, like he's got a death wish or something. It's empty. He wins again. If he pulls through this death-defying game of Russian roulette, he'll play the Good Samaritan for a week, like some kind of vigilante Robin Hood. Such a tough guy. When he goes grocery shopping, he runs into 2 armed robbers. Those 2 goons barge in and have the clerks shaking in their boots, practically begging for mercy in a split second. A bald guy wonders, "What's wrong with this man? Is he deaf?" He points his gun at Chapman's back. Chapman turns around with his drink. He puts the drink on the cabinet, grabs the muzzle of the gun directly, points it at his own heart, and then sticks it in his mouth. "Come on, shoot." The bald guy looks at his partner in confusion. Chapman sees they won't shoot and puts the gun on his forehead. The little bald guy is scared silly by Chapman's image. Chapman snatches the gun and smashes the robber on the forehead, knocking him down with 1 blow. Never rob a muscular guy. The other robber rushes over with a knife. Chapman spins around and takes the guy down with a grappling move. He lands a knee strike right in the gut and then chokes the bastard until he blacks out. After that, he spins around and grabs his vodka bottle. He remembers he must do good deeds today. He takes the money from the robber's pocket and throws it on the counter. "Keep the change." John Falcon Chapman used to be a Special Forces operative. During one hellish mission, he lost all his teammates. In his personal life, he only has a sister, Cindy, who is already an adult. After leaving the military, he doesn't know the meaning of life. He insists on doing 1,000 dumbbell lifts, 5,000 sit-ups, and tens of thousands of straight punches on the wallboard every day. It seems he can't find a way to release his pent-up energy. But on this day, Chapman receives terrible news. His sister Cindy went on a trip abroad and was seriously injured by a group of people. FBI agent Santo tells him that his sister has offended a local bully. He tails Katerina to the spot where Cindy was last seen, but they can't find any clues. And a local indigenous youth looks at them with a conflicted expression, clearly hiding something. Be careful when traveling abroad. Chapman buys a bouquet of flowers and goes to the hospital to see his sister. When he opening the door, he sees a nurse adding something to Cindy's IV. The nurse smiles and leaves after greeting him. But as soon as the woman leaves, Cindy starts convulsing violently. Chapman freaks out and frantically calls for the doctor. After a rescue, they manage to pull his sister back from the brink of death. After an investigation, it turns out that the nurse is not from the hospital. At this moment, Chapman is really angry. He doesn't know who his sister has offended. Someone is trying to take her life again and again. Chapman decides to find the culprit who hurt his sister. In a slum in a certain place, there are always some people on the street. They stop passing vehicles and sell playing cards to the drivers. Chapman finds Cindy's friend Curly in the local area. Curly spills the beans. Turns out they stumbled upon some local smugglers while shooting footage. What they are smuggling are some young girls and children who are exactly the girls on the street. He gives Chapman a USB drive with the photos, and then they part ways. These local gangs are just way too cocky. Curly looks around nervously when getting into the car. Suddenly there is an explosion and Curly is killed. The people on the street all flee in panic, but Chapman whips around and sees that fake nurse. He quickly runs after her, but the woman gets into a car and drives away, and a local group of masked men arrive behind him. They start shooting randomly with submachine guns. Even an innocent FBI agent gets killed. Chapman whips around and snatches up his pistol. He shoots one of the gangsters dead. Chapman's marksmanship is very accurate. These small fry realize they are no match and drive away. After returning, Chapman finds a suspicious person in the photos on the USB drive. On the car window, he sees the name of a nightclub. He comes here alone to find the man in the photo. Looking around, it's obvious there are a lot of bouncers. Taking advantage of the target going into the bathroom, Chapman walks up. But the little bodyguard won't let him pass. He pretends to turn around and then delivers a back kick. After entering, he finds the target. Remember to flush the toilet when you use it. The man just finishes a poop and doesn't flush. Chapman punches him right away. He takes out the photo and asks if he knows his sister. The little henchman tries to play dumb. He directly stuffs the man's head into the toilet. This shows us that we must flush the toilet. After a little beating, the man tells the truth. His suitcase is full of smuggling gang's information. He also voluntarily reveals their address. Chapman takes the suitcase and leaves. He discovers that the suitcase is full of evidence of smuggling. Chapman and the FBI split up. Santo is responsible for leading people to the slum to arrest the gang. Chapman goes alone to the enemy's lair. The FBI arrives at the slum and happens to see the bad guys arresting women. An agent shoots one of them dead. When Santo arrives, he picks the pistol, points it at a man on the ground, and then shoots his teammate dead. It turns out that he has long been bribed by the local criminal gang, and Chapman on the other side has no idea. This is the residence of the biggest drug lord in Brazil. It's also a place for pornographic transactions with young women. Chapman sneaks in, but arouses the suspicion of the butler. The butler reports to the fake nurse. The fake nurse is exactly the drug lord's personal secretary. She sees Chapman and quickly sends people to take him to the rooftop. At this moment, Chapman sees the abducted people upstairs. Just then, a man behind him takes out a wire and tries to strangle him. Chapman turns around and knocks him out with a few boxes. When he is about to conduct a further investigation, a group of people blocks his way. He swings the small suitcase around and knocks them all down. Although the enemies have guns, Chapman has his suitcase. With a final powerful roundhouse kick, he defeats them all. And at this time, the FBI agents also arrive in time. They come to the warehouse where the children are held, but it's empty. Obviously, the bad guys have already got the unplugged news and moved them. Because of the lack of evidence, Santo tells Chapman and the others to go back and wait for news. Chapman is about to get in the car when he feels something is wrong with Santo. He tells Catarina to go protect his sister first. He has something to stay and deal with. He is the fiercest local mob boss, Hiramoto. Facing the underling who lost the information, he whips out a 16-foot-long steel knife and stabs him in the back, sending him to his doom. That's the price for spilling secrets. And in the hospital, the fake nurse is about to harm Cindy. At the critical moment, a gunshot rings out. Catarina arrives in time and successfully saves Cindy, and Chapman follows Santo to a dock. Here he sees the gang members and the abducted girls. Now he realizes that Santo is a traitor. He first calls for backup, but the agents come too slowly. If they rely on them, it'll be too late. Chapman can only go ahead by himself. In the warehouse, he punches a small henchman down, picks up a gun and fires several shots. Facing 2 or 3 people, he shoots one down with one shot. At a corner, 2 people are nervous. Suddenly, Chapman appears and sends them to their deaths. Then he delivers a flying kick and takes down another one at the same time. Eventually, he runs to the end of the bullets and they start hand-to-hand combat. Santo sees this situation and doesn't hide it anymore. He starts fighting, but he is no match for Chapman. After a few punches, he is sent flying. He takes a chain. His companion is also watching. Suddenly, a knife slashes. It's the boss, Hiramoto. Hiramoto swings the steel knife and cuts Chapman's arm, making it bleed. A retired Special Forces soldier can fight 3 enemies alone. The big battle officially begins. Chapman ducks and weaves through the attacks time and time again. Spotting the perfect opening, he leaps up and lands a powerful punch. He spins around, evades the swinging chain, and boots a henchman clear across the room. Then he seizes Santo by the neck and pummels his face with a flurry of punches. He spins around and delivers a crushing kick to the back of the head. Each of his dodges is timed to perfection. Every punch he throws packs a wallop like thousands of pounds of force. After getting pummeled by Chapman's iron fists, Santo has a necklace driven into his chest by Chapman and passes out cold. Now only Hiramoto is left with a steel knife. Chapman picks up 2 iron rods from the ground. It's fair when both have weapons. Chapman is the stronger man. Hiramoto can only be suppressed. The small iron rods hit Hiramoto's face, making it covered with blood. With the final iron rod, he ends the battle. The corrupt FBI agent Santo caused Cindy's serious injury. Unexpectedly, her brother is an extremely powerful retired Special Forces soldier. Santo is scared. Looking at this brave man, he quickly surrenders. Although he became a corrupt agent and a traitor, he doesn't deserve to die. He immediately takes out a key and says that the children are trapped in another warehouse. At this time, Hiramoto still dares to stab from behind. Chapman quickly raises his gun and fires several shots, sending him to his final rest. Soon after, the FBI finally arrives and arrests all the bad guys, and Chapman walks out of the warehouse with the abducted children in his arms. He has completed his daily good deed. Later, Cindy wakes up. The brother and sister look at each other and smile. Chapman seems to have found the meaning of his own life. Sometimes, the meaning of life is not about oneself, but about the people around you. Where there is love, there is meaning. and the FBI, seeing Chapman's excellent skills and how he single-handedly destroyed a drug trafficking den, immediately offers him a high-paying spy job. Chapman continues his journey of justice. This movie is called Falcon Rising. Although it's a low-budget action movie, the plot is compact, and the fight scenes are very smooth and exciting. The setting of Chapman as a retired Special Forces soldier is also very different from other movies. A person with extraordinary power also needs love and tenderness to nourish. This is both a story of saving the girls and a story of Chapman's self-redemption. If you like this video, remember to like and subscribe. See you next time.